Welcome all to the latest episode of the C64 Roundup, your concise guide to the latest news and releases for your Commodore 64. So let's start things off by looking at the first batch of games released recently. Sarah Jane Avery has released Briley Witch Chronicles 2, a Japanese-inspired RPG based on Sarah's own Briley Witch series of novels. The second instalment of the Briley Witch games continues off from the first and sees you once again take control of Briley as she continues to explore her new life in a world that is still greatly unfamiliar to her. The game kicks things off with dark and mysterious interaction amongst two cloaked figures, conspiring against our teenage witch. Though the intro is somewhat long-winded, it is very well presented and builds up sufficient anticipation as to what's in store. Following the plot of the 5th and 6th Briley Witch novels, Briley Witch Chronicles 2 will instantly feel quite familiar to those who spent a bit of time with the original game. There are a few tweaks here and there, and many new locations to visit, but otherwise, Briley 2 looks and plays pretty much like the first game. Briley Witch Chronicles 2 is a very well polished piece of production. The game oozes quality in this respect, from its graphical representation, its variable music soundtrack, all the way down to the overall game world construct. It's hard not to be impressed with what's on offer here. For me, the first Briley game succeeded mostly based on its well-balanced and absorbing storytelling. But this time around it's not grabbing me as much. And I think there are two reasons for this. First is that the dialogue has lost some of its charming innocence and is slanted more so towards a female teenage audience. And as a 50-plus-year-old male, it's just never going to sit comfortably with me. The second reason is that the story narrative is overdone in many areas. I feel that Sarah needed to edit down the amount of text in the game, as some of it certainly feels like a whole lot of filler from an 8-bit gaming perspective. Regardless, the story branches on offer within Briley 2 are interesting. These include Briley having to deal with the vindictive Lord Grey who believes that she is responsible for his son's death, the ongoing feud with the Whiteheads, the arrival of a major festival bringing in outsiders who are not like as they seem, and a spate of mysterious poisonings that has gripped some of the villagers. But one thing that has not changed is that blasted JRPG style combat system. Even in easy mode, I find these randomised and often occurring combat phases to be a tedious grind and highly disruptive, when all I really want is just to explore, discover and interact. Ah well. So what we get with Briley Witch Chronicles 2 is more of the same really. Your decision as to whether you want to buy the game should be determined by how much you enjoyed the first game. If you enjoyed the first one, or you enjoy JRPG style of games, then Briley Witch Chronicles 2 is well worth every part of the $10 asking price, especially as you'll find yourself playing the game for in excess of 20 hours. Briley Witch Chronicles 2 is both PAL and NTSC compatible and is available digitally from itch.io. Tower of Evil is a port of the original 1984 ZX Spectrum game, which sees you play the role of Andros, banished years ago by King Salamos and destined to not return unless he brings back the kidnapped Princess Diana and the King's lost treasure taken by the evil Necromancer. Tower of Evil is a top-down flick-screen arcade adventure. Starting on the ground floor, you must search the rooms looking for treasure and a key that can be used to access a magic stairway that will allow you to move up a floor until you finally reach the 7th floor where the princess is located. Occupying each floor are various creatures that need to be avoided or shot, and if you touch this creature then you lose one of your allocated lives. Once you reach the 7th floor, you must find a chest to place the treasure in before finding and rescuing the princess. Tower of Evil is good for a one-time playthrough. Its overall production feels kind of cheap, and the game is relatively easy to complete. The game is available as a free digital download. Penguin Tower is the latest entrant to the games that take 30 years to finish club. Featured as a 10-level demo on the cover tape for issue 49 of Commodore Format magazine, Penguin Tower has finally been finished off by coder Jani Hirvo and made available to the community for free. Penguin Tower is a variant to the Bomberman style of game where you take control of parrots who are tasked with the job to destroy all of the evil penguins trying to take over the island the parrots have called their home. Eliminating penguins is predominantly done by blowing them up with the bombs, but this is not always a simple task as the penguins often display a higher level of intelligence than your typical enemy character. So a bit of planning and patience is required in order to get the bomb placement right. Access to some areas within the game map are initially blocked off, but can be opened up by blowing up the environment. And there are pickups, good and bad, to collect. Despite the messy nature of the graphics, Penguin Tower does provide many hours of fun arcade action with its 100 levels and is well worth trying out. Blastopia DX Special Edition is a slightly adjusted version of the original Blastopia DX horizontal scrolling space shooter released in 2019. The convoluted backstory to Blastopia DX is that there has been a bout of miscommunication between humans and aliens, and the aliens were so angry that they came down and stole camels from zoos and farms all around the world. Yep. Anyway, your mission is to send your mega power blaster ship to go in and recover the stolen camels, because camels are important, damn it. Each level basically sees you to do battle against a fleet of assorted aliens, and you're given a quota of camels to rescue. For every complete alien wave you eliminate, a camel will appear and start falling. Be quick and pick the camel up before it hits the ground. Once you've fulfilled your quota of camels rescued, you'll be prompted to make a safe landing. After you successfully land, then it's on to the next level. Blastopia DX Special Edition is available as a free digital download. Now here is an interesting new game from Dr. Mortal Wombat. Roguebot is described as a deck builder roguelike dungeon crawler where you control a probe robot that has landed on an asteroid that is being deliberately guided towards Earth by evil entities. Your robot can only be controlled remotely by punch cards. The robot is controlled in rounds, and each round starts with a set of cards dealt from the draw pile. You select the order of cards to play, which determines the robot's actions in the order that they are selected. After you move, any enemy characters on screen take their turn to move and take action. At the top of each card you play are a number of dots. This represents the amount of energy required to execute each move, which is then used to determine by how much your energy counter diminishes. Roguebot 1 contains 41 levels, with all of the levels after the first being randomly generated. The objective of each level is to find the exit and collect as much gold as you can along the way. Roguebot is not going to be for everyone, but I've enjoyed my initial goes with the game and look forward to understanding it at a deeper level across the Christmas New Year period. Roguebot is a free digital download from itch.io. Let's see what's come across my news desk this month. I received a nice surprise from Zen Kaylee, who took the time to let me know about his C64 game project called Static Flowerhorn Attack. Static is a vertically scrolling shooter that looks to maximise the playfield display by doing away with info panels or any sort of heads-up display. You start off with 4 lives, and your ship has an amount of energy that reduces as you get hit, but there'll be no way to tell exactly how many energy you have left. When you do eventually lose all your energy, you lose a life, and your ship goes into a suspension mode where the action freezes and you are invulnerable, allowing you to reposition your placement after you respawn. Another interesting feature is that you can come into contact with most of the game scenery without losing energy, but you're prevented from shooting while in contact. There are pickups to collect, and shooting the pickups will change the type of pickup on offer. Having played through the demo that Zen provided, I was quite impressed with the gameplay so far. It's very challenging, but Static Flowerhorn Attack has all the makings of a great shooter. Issue 24 of K&A Plus magazine is now available. This issue carries a war and military theme to it and contains plenty of new and old game reviews, along with a whole swag of feature articles that are sure to be of interest. K&A Plus is presented in an A4 size format and is available as a physical and digital edition. Go grab your copy today, you won't be disappointed. Fans of the modern-day title Polar Bear in Space might be interested to know that coder Sylvan Reinhold is about to publish a book providing retrospective insights to his coding experience on the game project. Titled The Art of Development of 8-Bit Games with Polar Bear in Space, Sylvan lifts the veil on the behind-the-scenes creative process and is a great read to those interested in writing their own games or to those who are curious about the inner workings of development projects. Sylvan tells me that there is a chance that this book will be out before Christmas. It will be available as hardcover, paperback and Kindle digital formats. I'll be sure to post a link to the book on the RGN Facebook page once it becomes available. Great news, Yeti Mountain will be released in January 2024 through Protovision. Enjoy the public premiere reveal of the video trailer for the game. And to finish up the last C64 roundup for 2023, let's look at what other games have been released recently. Kick of the Spear, Return of Anubis is an enhanced version of the original title arcade-style fighting game that contains improved AI engine, a scrolling arena, digital speech, and a story mode with platform elements intersected in between the combat sections. The premise to the story is that the fierce god Anubis has risen from the underworld to spread fear and death. You need to enter his lair and defeat his guards before facing Anubis himself. Heeding feedback provided on the original Kick of the Spear title, it is quite admirable that the coder went back to have a second crack at his fighting combat game in an attempt to improve its production and playability, and he has succeeded to some extent. The full character-sized fighting experience is retained and improved thanks to the new enemy AI that provides much more of a challenge now and requires you to mix up your attacks in order to progress. Another plus is the implementation of a scrolling fighting arena, which again adds depth to the overall fighting mechanic. However, the number of attack moves is still limited and all the enemy fighters feel like they fight in the same way. The idea of introducing a story mode is a good one, but it is poorly executed. The newly added platform stage is presented in a view that is not consistent with the combat view, and it feels like it's just tacked on rather than neatly integrated, so that as to make it feel like one continuous gaming experience. When it comes to the presentation side of things, it's a mixed bag. The digital speech that was missing from the first Kick of the Spear has been added, and it sounds good. The console panels on the top and the bottom of the combat sections are much improved, but this appears to be at the cost of the background graphics, which are now really non-existent. The in-game music continues to be somewhat lacking. In addition to story mode, Return of Anubis also includes a versus and two-player fighting mode. A lot of credit needs to go to the coder to try and improve Kick of the Spear, but there is still a lot of room for improvement required to make Return of Anubis a compelling play. The game is available as a commercial download from itch.io. Looks like Arlasoft's self-imposed exile from the C64 scene is over, as he presents two new game titles for the community to enjoy. Diamond Geyser is a sliding platform game where the aim is to collect all of the diamonds on each level. If you have played Antonio Savona's Boxy Moxy, then this is the same style of play, albeit in a lot more primitive presentation. When you move, you will continue moving in that direction until blocked by a wall. So some thought needs to go into your planning to make you reach all of the diamonds, especially in the later levels where you need to do them in specific order. Apparently, Diamond Geyser was coded within a 3.5 hour time period as part of the Main Meister's charity stream, and I think the results are pretty good for this short effort. Yes, the presentation is basic, but I did enjoy the puzzle gameplay. The game is available as a free download from itch.io. Arlasoft's second title for the month is another attempt to reproduce a classic arcade game, and this time it's Burger Time. The objective of the game is to assemble all the burgers on screen to complete each level. You have to go around treading on the burger ingredients to send them falling down to the level below. If an ingredient hits another, it will knock that down as well. You can drop burger ingredients onto enemies to kill them, and you can also lure enemies onto ingredients and then they will fall with them, earning big bonuses. Pressing the joystick button will allow you to throw pepper at enemies and stun them temporarily. Collect ice cream, coffee and fries to earn bonuses and an extra pepper shot. And an extra life is awarded for every 20,000 points. Hardcore enthusiasts of the original arcade game will pick up that this is not a 100% faithful reproduction, but this won't matter for the rest of us, as Burger Time is an immensely fun arcade game, despite it being quite challenging to progress through the levels. I don't really appreciate these type of arcade reproduction attempts, but Burger Time would have to be one of my favourites of the genre. Time Slip is a conversion of a game originally released in 1985 for the Commodore 16 and the Atari 8-bit systems the year after. The game is presented with the screen split up into 3 sections, each one representing a different time zone. The top section sees you control a fighter plane and takes place on the planet's surface. The middle zone is set in an underground cavern, and the bottom sees you control a mini-sub within an ocean environment. The aim of the game is to collect all of the orbs across 3 scrolling landscape zones, while at the same time getting the timer in each zone down to 0. You have to do this before the overall timer runs out, and each time you crash, you lose 10 minutes from the overall timer. With a unique twist, every 5th crash causes a time slip where each unfinished zone randomly changes the time left. The concept behind time slip is somewhat unique, and it does take a little time to get used to what is going on within the game. With the middle underground cavern section, it can be a little frustrating to control your character, while the other two sections are simple and fun to play. Time Slip is available as a free digital download. Well, it looks like Vector 5 Games have established a tradition of bringing out a new Santa's Workout game every Christmas. And this year, we have Santa's Workout 3 Silent Night. It's Christmas Eve and Santa has gifts to deliver. Use the overhead neighbourhood map to select the house to go into, and the game switches to a view of Santa falling from the chimney, and your task is to find the Christmas tree somewhere in the house. But to deliver gifts, you have to be careful not to wake up the kids or pets. Every time you walk, enter a door, or move a piece of furniture, a sound is generated, filling up your sneak meter. Standing still in a safe spot will result in the sneak meter being reduced, while getting too close to a pet will set them off, further increasing your sneak meter. You might come across some slippers lying around the house. Collecting these will make your movements silent for a while. So the overall objective of each level is to find a tree, to drop off the presents and get back to the chimney without letting the sneak meter get to full. A fun little game to play across this festive season, and it's available as a free digital download from itch.io. And that is a wrap on another episode and the year 2023 of the C64 Roundup. It has been another smashing year of new releases. What's in store for 2024? Well, to be honest, I'm not sure. There will be a January 2024 episode, and then I will reevaluate everything after that. Thank you so much to all viewers for taking the time to watch all of the RGN content produced over the past 6 years. And a super big thank you to viewers who have supported RGN with a financial contribution. Until next time, bye for now.